I think that toxic masculinity, so-called, the war on men, this will be the major battle of the latter half of the 2020s. Now, obviously, it's already been a battle for a long time. What I'm saying is that this is what the left is going to pivot to in a big way. It'll be a heavy pivot. So it's going to be less about race. It's going to be less about LGBT. It's going to be more about men versus women, about why men are toxic, about why we need feminism, why men are the problem, and so on and so on and so on. Race was the major culture war in 2020 and 2021. Trans was the major cultural conflict in 2022 and 23 and into 24. And I think that this kind of assumes that position in the coming years. And
so first of all, it was your side obsessing over race in 2020. It was your side obsessing over trans people in 2022, 2023, 2024, still today. Gender, I think, was already kind of the thing back in the early days of Trump with the Women's March. So yes, the left did focus a lot on gender in resisting Trump. There was that whole thing. But yeah, I think gender is not that much of a thing we're focusing on anymore. You're focusing a lot on gender. You say that there's a war on men, but yeah, that's just you. That's not our fault.
I think that we're seeing signs of it. The big streaming show right now that everyone's talking about on social media anyway is this show called Adolescence on Netflix, which is apparently all about toxic masculinity. So we see Hollywood turning back that way. We know politically that the gender divide is growing. It's maybe the most salient, the most relevant political fact, right, in our country right now is the political gender divide.
That's true, actually. I mean, young men are leaning hard right, women leaning hard left. So he's correct in identifying that.
And so what the left is doing and what all their institutions, the media, Hollywood, and so on, what they're always doing is they're looking for the pressure points. They're looking for the grievances. They're looking for the special protected classes of people that they can use. Where are, what's our vehicle going to be? What's going to be the most useful vehicle for the next few years to push forward, not just our agenda in that area, but our entire agenda? And for a few years, it was the race hustlers. For a few years, it was the trans LGBT activists. And now I think it's going to be the, liberal women, the feminists, the man haters. And I think that's where we're heading.
That already kind of happened, though, in 2017, 2018, 2019. That was the whole rage. They're not going to go back to this. And I sure hope they don't. I sure hope that they don't, because the Democrats have way better strategies, way better prospects in attacking tariffs and attacking Doge for dismantling our government, not going all in on gender identity politics. Gender obviously is an important thing, but let's face it, the era of Roe versus Wade being overturned, that sort of bump that Democrats got, that's worn off. We saw that in the 2024 election. Democrats talked about Roe versus Wade being overturned in 2022, and it was helpful, but it did not pay off in 2024. We need to move on, focus mostly on economics. And yeah, Matt Walsh is just totally making things up here. This is a false prediction. He is not going to end up being correct. And yeah, it'll be his side that's obsessing over gender constantly, just as they always do. They accuse Kamala Harris of hating men. They accuse Democrats of hating men, but they never even say that stuff. Meanwhile, their side is openly misogynistic. They just disparage women. They say they need to go back to the kitchen, go back to the 1950s. They disparage women on the daily. Trump does that. That's his whole thing. He's the most misogynistic president in modern history. And yes, that includes Bill Clinton. So yeah, it's really rough for the Republican Party and their gender war that they're waging. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video.